For those who are the murderers, I say to you, you can hide from man, you can hide from woman, but you cannot hide from God. God sees and God knows.
Some strong words there from our Prime Minister as she calls out those who are intent on hurting and destroying the lives of the nation's children. It's our Tuesday edition of Jamaica Magazine. I'm Arroya Eubanks. Thanks for tuning in. In our package today, we hear from some of our leaders and members of the public on ways in which we can and ought to be safeguarding our children. We also touch on the important issue of road safety and hear one woman's story after surviving a near-fatal accident. A comprehensive package awaits you. Keep watching as we head to this important message, followed by the news.
Parents, make sure the children get immunized. Hear this. Immunization, it is a must. This is not a joke thing, this you can trust. It is required by law for entry to nursery, to daycare and to schools. Listen up, it is necessary to prevent diseases such as the measles, the poliomyelitis, the lockjaw and the whooping cough. Immunize your kids, keep them healthy, keep them strong. Prevent deadly diseases such as mumps, rubella and diphtheria. Immunize your child today. Immunization, a key to good health.
A message from the Ministry of Health and PAHO. Good day, I'm Tamara McHale and this is your GIS News for Tuesday, March 10. Government has begun preliminary discussions on the issue of corporal punishment and whether it should remain a lawful option in the Jamaican society. Youth and Culture Minister Lisa Hanna convened an interministerial working group on children last Friday at her ministry. It was in response to a call from the United Nations Committee on the Rights of the Child for the Jamaican government to pass a law banning corporal punishment. The minister said there needed to be a national dialogue on corporal punishment before Jamaica could make a decision on the issue. She asserted that while studies have been done on corporal punishment by other countries, it was important for Jamaica to look at how its own population views the matter. In the meantime, the Interministerial Working Group also discussed issues pertaining to the child diversion policy and the safety and protection of children. Government has reiterated that the upcoming Integrity Commission bill will strengthen Jamaica's fight against corruption. The assertion came from Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller through a message delivered by Attorney General Patrick Atkinson at a function on Monday. The Integrity Commission bill, which is now before a joint select committee of Parliament, seeks to promote and enhance standards of ethical conduct by public officials.
It does so by consolidating laws relating to the prevention of corruption and the award, monitoring and investigating of government contracts and prescribed licenses.
Mr. Atkinson was speaking at the inaugural Fraud and Anti-Corruption Conference on Monday, hosted by the Office of the Contractor General.
It is my firm belief that the hosting of this conference will provide a unique opportunity for stakeholders to utilize this platform to foster an effective exchange of ideas and, more importantly, to facilitate greater levels of interagency as well as extraterritorial coordination.
The Anti-Corruption Conference, which will end on Wednesday, is being held under the theme Confronting Corruption, Empowering a Generation, Transforming a Nation. The Agriculture and Fisheries Ministry will be stepping up its food safety and security surveillance measures. These include increasing the frequency of inspections, expanding access to records, and mandatory recalls where necessary. Explaining the need for this, State Minister Luther Buchanan points out that all exporters of food to the United States must demonstrate that their food is safe and acquire registration with the Food and Drug Administration.
Every effort must be made to avert any fallout in the agricultural sector and, by extension, the national economy.
Food safety is part of government's growth and development agenda, and the Agriculture State Minister says the next step is to have all export facilities certified. He adds that they must have proper documentation outlining food manufacturing practices and standard sanitation operation procedures. Entrepreneurs are being encouraged to take advantage of government's mobile business clinic initiative to help develop their operations. Industry, Investment and Commerce State Minister Sharon Folks Abrams has called on budding business persons with great ideas to come forward and reap the benefits.
Whether you're one of those people who have a great business idea, but you just don't know how to get started, we are here for you. whether you're seeking funding, whether you need assistance in developing your business skills, forming a new company, taking your business online, or you need assistance with research, and so on, the Mobile Business Clinic is here for you. In other words, we are here to build and facilitate entrepreneurship from all walks of life.
She was speaking at the Mobile Business Clinic's recent stop in Hanover. It was the third staging, with previous sessions held in St. James and Westmoreland under the theme, Strengthening the Capacity of Jamaican MSMEs. For a schedule of the parish stops, call the Jamaica Business Development Corporation at 928-516125. And finally, the Ministry of Labour and Social Security is stepping up its work this year to address the negative impact of HIV and AIDS on the workforce. That announcement came recently from the Director in the Ministry's Occupational Safety and Health Department, Robert Chung. He told JIS News that stigma and discrimination caused devastation and dysfunctional workplaces, and said the issue needed to be dealt with as the country seeks to advance.
The impact of HIV and AIDS is one of those psychosocial hazards that are so important now to correct going forward, so that we can have the type of workplace and workforce that is conducive not only to productivity but to development.
Mr. Chung was speaking at a JIS think tank. At that session, Acting Senior Legal Officer Kadria Folks said the ministry had received reports of employers and human resource managers who had dismissed or refused to promote workers after receiving medical reports of HIV and AIDS diagnosis.
In light of the National Workplace Policy on HIV/AIDS, that is conduct which we want to prevent from happening, because it operates against the worker, in addition to which it affects the workers in fundamental ways that we believe we need to mitigate against.
She said the National Workplace Policy on HIV and AIDS, which received parliamentary approval in 2010, would be appended to the Occupational Safety and Health Act. In addition, government will be amending legislation that specifically speaks to the treatment of HIV and AIDS in the workplace. And that's it for GIS News today. I'm Tamara McHale. Thank you for watching.
Every duty vehicle on the road or the bridge. Listen the message. No overload. Quarry operator, haulage contractor, a trailer driver. No overload. Truck overload destroys our roads. I want to say, check your speed, check your state, make sure you're not overweight. Take the time to make it safe, even if you're little late. Some of the road, they leany, sinky, twisty. Truck overload destroys our roads. So drive a heavy duty vehicle on the road or the bridge. Listen the message.
A message from the Island Traffic Authority and the National Road Maintenance Fund.
Our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter, said Martin Luther King Jr. Well, our nation's leaders are not being silent on important issues. They are speaking out against many of the atrocities that are being committed against one of our most vulnerable groups in society, our children. Recent incidents have further solidified the call for everyone to be our brother's keepers and be on the lookout. Hear more now.
Listen to the voices, crying to be free. Can we be the promise that we promise to be? Love and understanding.
We, the adults, are supposed to blame because to our grow kids. It's not like first time when me get eye on your one and you. So everybody busy with them own individual. So the whole system break down. That's why we have so much child abuse. You understand me?
We can see what this nation has turned to when it comes to kids. You have pedophile out there. You have all kind of different offender out there. And molesting the kids them. I'm a father with many and also grandchildren. And to be honest, I would want nothing to happen to my kids or grandchildren. So we cannot just leave it on teachers at school. It all starts from the home.
The media tells the story of the grim reality affecting many of our nation's children. Children who are facing trauma of all kinds as the attacks by criminals and abusers get more intolerable.
I know you're shocked, and indeed the whole of Jamaica is shocked at what has taken place. I'm sorry that it has happened.
The Ministry of Education after yet another tear-jerking tragedy. A call has been sounded from our nation's leaders and the general public for us to take greater care and protection of Jamaica's children. After all, it takes a village to raise a child.
It is sad for every time you hear a child murdered. And it's happening one too many every time. And I want to make a special appeal to mothers, fathers, and communities. Our children are our future. Had I been murdered, Jamaica would not have had today the first female prime minister. The other leaders were murdered. Jamaica would not have benefited from them.
As the Prime Minister makes it clear, our future development and success rests in the young ones of today. So it is up to us to make the difference. It is up to us to speak out against societal ills, particularly among our youngest and most vulnerable.
We can start by being more vigilant. Be vigilant in educating our children of the do's and don'ts of talking with strangers, assuring them that even persons who are very close to them in terms of family members, neighbors, everybody, can be a danger. So we have to teach them to protect themselves, to be aware of all the signs that can endanger their lives.
And even as the community is encouraged to play a role, the government, through its various initiatives and programs, is ensuring that all avenues are utilized to safeguard our children. The Office of the Children's Registry, one of the agencies responsible for this, is committed to the cause and continues to be vigilant.
We all have a role to play in safeguarding our future. Therefore, I encourage all adults to become positive role models to our children. You are called upon to set the right examples by dealing with the challenges in a rational and caring way. You are also responsible for the overall well-being while giving care to our children. Therefore, you must become aware and remain alert in identifying and dealing with the signs such as child abuse, all the various forms including neglect, child labor, child trafficking, physical abuse, sexual abuse. And so I do encourage you, go to our website at www.ocr.gov.jm. Learn more about the roles of the OCR, how you can become a parent now. Let's care and protect, not harm and neglect our children.
And I want to make a special appeal to parents, mothers and fathers. Keep your children close to you. We have a responsibility as a nation to stand up for the protection of our children.
Government health centers and hospitals have an adequate supply of paracetamols like Panadol and Cetamol to treat the chikungunya virus. Paracetamol in the public health sector is free of cost. For more on chikungunya and the medication, call the Ministry of Health toll-free at 1-888-1-LOVE. That's 1-888-663-5683. Mondays to Fridays, 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. A message from the Ministry of Health.
Parents need to play a better part in their kids' life. Carry them to school or something.
That's just one way in which we can take greater responsibility for the well-being of our children. Here are some other ways from our stakeholders.
Children make up roughly 38% of our population. Our children are suffering in many dimensions: physical abuse and violence, neglect, and emotional abuse. The solution to this crisis requires a concerted societal approach.
Taking the bull by the horn, government is moving to ensure the best care and protection of the nation's children, and their needs are varying and complex. Data show that about 10% or 100,000 of our children have some kind of mental disorder, while another 5% may be suffering from severe cases. In the 2005 Youth Risk and Resilience Survey, 14% of adolescents felt lonely, sad, or wanted to cry, while approximately 7% had worry-affected sleep most or all of the time. These and other factors have spurred the government into action.
I have assembled an advisory council of psychiatrists to advise me on the psychosocial dimensions of the problem and to assist in implementing strategies to deal with them.
The Advisory Board of the Child Development Agency, the CDA, will also be doing a process audit to look at administrative issues, identify problems, and find solutions. The CDA has also signed an agreement with the University of Technology, which will see the agency training students pursuing courses in child and adolescent development. While that is in train, 11 more child investigators and psychologists have been added to the pool at the CDA to provide services to children in stage care. And the CDA continues to work to find suitable places for abandoned and neglected children. The agency has teamed up with the Correctional Services Department to remove these youngsters in need of care from adult and other remand centers.
The crisis associated with children who come in conflict with the law is our problem as a country. It is a large part of a greater crisis facing our children, and everybody has a role in this. The caring might be costly, but not caring is not an option, and together we can achieve the best results.
They were heading home, playing in the streets just like they always did. When
I'll see you again.
My name is Sheldon Bell. I barely survived. My friend, she didn't. I'm now much more careful on the road. You should be too.
330 Jamaicans died in road crashes in 2014. 99 of the deceased were pedestrians. Road users, obey road rules. Walk, drive, and ride with care. Remember, road safety begins with you.
330 fatalities occurred on the nation's roads in 2014, and of that number, 30% was attributed to ignoring speed limits. We have to exercise greater concern for our safety and the safety of others. Hear now about one woman's near-death experience and her caution to road users.
Sunday, March 8, 2008. 4 years ago, 3 months, 8 days. I was walking along the sidewalk when from the back I was hit by a speeding motorist. The impact tossed me airborne for some 21 feet, and the driver, still having not gained control of the car, ran over me. I was smashed into the asphalt and semi-conscious with a burst head, fractured skull, right broken apart shoulder, broken ribs, partially smashed off and broken left knee, doubly broken right knee smashed apart and broken, numerous wounds, lacerations, and my right leg, which was run over, laid there in a queer angle with large mince and segmented portions of exposed bone.
At the time of the crash, Falasha was only 21 years old, a first-degree, first-year university student. She held a full-time job and was very involved in numerous church, sports, and voluntary activities. And without notice, all that changed in an instant.
It took less than 10 seconds, and one driver's misjudgment, one driver's decision to speed, one driver's choice to be reckless, one minute selfish act of dangerous driving, and in less than 10 seconds most of my bones were broken, my whole being shattered, my body wrecked, my life radically marred and completely changed forever.
Falasha awoke to find herself in hospital, hooked to numerous machines, with tubes and needles invading her body. Her head, hands, and legs were screwed with nails and supported by metal poles. She was crippled by excruciating pain, and no amount of painkillers seemed to give any relief. It was at that point that she wished she had died. Since then, she has undergone 15 major surgeries to bring her body to a point of rehabilitation, including the amputation of her right leg.
For the last 4 years, instead of like my peers pursuing educational, social, and economic dreams and goals, I have had to fight and struggle to find recovery, where my dreams have been forcibly pushed on a ledge so far from my reach. Because of one driver's choice not to observe road safety, I'm unable to cross the streets or be around moving cars for any amount of time without being overwhelmed by the sense that I'm about to be hit down. I am afflicted with insomnia, panic, and anxiety attacks, and I'm daily haunted by graphic flashbacks of this accident in my waking hours, and in the little sleep I get, nightmares.
And the pain continues. One driver's choice to disobey road rules has cost Falasha the loss of family and friends who have found it difficult to come to terms with the sudden transformation of her life. And there's more.
I have lost relationships and suffered devastating heartbreaks because these guys could not and eventually refused to deal with or see beyond the destruction of my being, and thus walked away. After the accident, I had to drop out of university, and to date, I have not been able to resume.
If it had not been for one driver's choice to be reckless on our roads, Falasha would have graduated in July 2012. And instead of having a student loan debt, she has incurred hospital expenses of more than $5 million and growing, and has to find over $30,000 monthly for medication, crippling her personal savings and dashing her hopes of finding employment.
Because of one driver's choice to not observe road safety, whenever I apply for a job, my visual damages are what are seen, and my credits, qualifications takes back page, and they create an endless list of cans and render me disabled and incapable without a chance, making it manifold times harder in a job market that is already very overpopulated. Time won't allow me to even begin to list and dissect for you the countless ways in which this accident has affected my life and continues to wreak havoc in my body. Just imagine with me for 1 minute. You're in constant, horrendous pain, moving around on one leg that has a broken knee, using an arm with a broken shoulder that is protruding through the skin, that your leg has been amputated in a society that removed the disc from disability and placed on there, thus rendering the disabled unable. Where every single day, everywhere you go, people stare at you like you just fell from Mars. Where hardly anyone sees or treats you as a wholesome person with wholesome brain, emotions, and feelings. And when persons look at you, they no longer see you, but see an amputation, and thus look at you and make comments laced with pity, smirks, condemnation, mockery, and for some, even scorn. That you are no longer looked at as a rightful contributing member of society, but as a liability who is barely tolerated. There are no words to adequately express to you all that one driver's disregard for road safety has done and continues to do with my life. I stand here today only because of the grace and goodness of God. And I am begging you, please do not be the next driver to disregard road safety and shatter another person's life. Don't be the next driver to, through irresponsible and dangerous driving, choose to destroy another life.
What a story. The Road Safety Unit now offers you some tips on keeping safe while traveling.
Seems like it was yesterday when I saw your face. You told me how proud you were, but I walked away.
Newton's laws of motion are for real. They are not a respecter of persons. The body at rest will stay at rest. A body in motion will stay in motion unless there is some unbalanced force that comes to redirect you. It's the collision that causes that redirection. When a collision occurs, everybody moves in that direction where the force is coming. So the force is coming from the handle, coming forward, that's where everybody is going to move. The seat belt now is made to restrain you, keep you in the seat. Every child should be in a child's seat. Once they have outgrown that, it depends on the weight and the size of the child, right? So they should be in a child's seat. So kids, newborn kids up to about 2 years old, they should be in a child's seat. If they are so big, they're getting so big, you might need to take them out and put them in a booster seat to get them a bit higher so that they can fit in the seat belt. Another critical road user that has been problematic for us is the motorcyclists. 65 died last year. 65 males. These crashes could have been prevented. These deaths could have been reduced had they decided to wear their helmet. Helmet must be worn at all times, and also the proper helmet, not the chimney helmet, right? One with the internal padding there to absorb the energy when the helmet hit the asphalt.
Seems like it was yesterday when I saw your face.
You know what I want to say, Jamaica Magazine, listen out for No Go There, Nomads and Eve for Life. Seeing protecting our young girls, especially our young girls. No go there. Protect our children.
And with that message, we now close the pages of today's magazine. Tune in again tomorrow, same time on this station for another insightful edition. Share your feedback and comments by emailing jamaicamagazine@jis.gov.jm. You may also visit our website at jis.gov.jm and download our JIS News app on your smartphone from the Google Play Store. On behalf of the hardworking JIS production team, I'm Auroya Eubanks. Thanks for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.